Alright guys, today I'm going to be doing a video on how to field strip and clean an AR-15. Alright, so to get started, you'll just need your basic cleaning supplies. The gun patches, you'll need some lubricant, and then some CLP or rim oil or something similar to that. And then I also think it's kind of easy to get some of these picks to get in some of the tighter, smaller areas, and a brush. You could also use a cleaning rod, or you can also use a bore snake, which I find a little bit faster. So I'll kind of go through both ways to show you each one. So pretty simple. There's a little bit more smaller parts than just your normal handgun, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. So just to dive right into it and get started, obviously want to make sure there's no magazine in there, and then check your chamber, make sure there's nothing in there, and you can see we are empty. So you'll notice that there are two tabs. There's one right here, and then there's one at the back kind of by the safety. You'll just want to push those through, and then flip the gun over on the other side. You'll be able to pull them through, pull them out, just kind of like that. Same thing over here. Pull that out, and then that will separate your upper from your lower. Alright, so you see we have our lower right here, and this thing doesn't really get too dirty, so not a whole lot of cleaning is necessary here. You still want to wipe it down and everything. You can also clean your buffer tube. I really don't do that too often, so I really won't go through that today, but basically you just pop this out and wipe it down. So main focus is the upper portion here in your bolt group. So just kind of turn the gun upside down, and then you're going to go ahead and pull your charging handle out, and then along with it your bolt carrier group is going to come out as well. And just take those out here. Okay. Alright, so with their bolt carrier group here, one of the first things you're going to want to do is right here there's a pin. You'll just want to push that through. You might need a little tool to stick in there and get that out. And then you should be able to pull it out of there. So this is kind of small, so you want to make sure you definitely don't lose that. And then next thing, your firing pin here should drop out right there. You can see this thing's pretty dirty. I just got done shooting it today. And then this right here, you're going to turn it 90 degrees to where long ways is going that way, and you're actually going to pull it out. And that comes right out just like that. And you're able to take your actual bolt out here. There you go. Now you can actually go one step further with this and take out the extractor. I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Again, there's another little pin there that you're going to want to punch out. Definitely don't want to lose this one. Alright, see, little tiny pin there. Kind of put that aside, and then your extractor is going to come off right there. So that's pretty much how you fully strip an AR-15 to do with your general cleaning. Alright, so one of the first things I start with is I do take a cleaning rod, and then I take a patch, and then I'll take my CLP. You could also use, like I said, rim oil or something similar. There's all sorts of different kinds. Soak it down. Get this patch nice and wet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run this through the barrel. Like so. And what that's going to do is I'm going to let that sit, and that's going to let that CLP kind of do its magic inside the barrel, break up any debris and calcium deposits that might be in there. So I'm going to let that sit for right now. And then what I'll do next is I'll take a larger patch. You could also use paper towels, rags, what have you, and then wet it down with some more CLP. And then I just start wiping down all these parts with it. And it's going to do the same thing your barrel is going to do. It's actually going to break down any of the calcium deposits and crap that you have on all these parts. So just get everything nice and soaked in this CLP here. See, my gun is actually very dirty. It's been probably quite a while since I cleaned it, so. Alright, I'm going to actually use another patch here. Get it wet as well. Your bolt here. Okay. And then as far as the lower goes, I'm just going to take the same, just kind of wipe down the hammer and a couple other parts. Like I said, really not a whole lot that needs to be done with that. And then inside the upper here, I'm actually going to wipe it all down with this CLP as well. You could, if you want to, you could even spray the CLP bottle in there. I just don't like to because it creates a huge mess. I don't mind, you know, patches are cheap, so I don't mind using a bunch of them. So get a bunch in there. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to let this sit for a few minutes and let the CLP break everything down. And then continue cleaning it out. So I'm going to let this stuff sit for a few minutes and come right back. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brush and just kind of scrape all this stuff down here. Gonna help get all the crap out of here and get these parts nice and clean. You actually really want to pay attention to this area here because that's where a lot of the calcium deposits like to build up. So just want to make sure, kind of scrub that pretty good. You can even use an old toothbrush for this if you need to. Alright, then in here, try and do the same thing in here. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but okay, and now what I'm going to do is just get either a fresh paper towel, fresh cloth, and just kind of start wiping everything down clean. Start here with the bowl. This is where you want to kind of take some time and make sure you get it all nice and real clean. Get all this crap wiped off of here. Start using a paper towel. Okay, I'm just going to take the lower, just kind of wipe this down as well. Inside the chamber here, you're just going to do the same thing. And this is actually where some of these tools, these little picks here come in handy. Because what I do is I actually take a patch, kind of stick it in there, and I'm able to take these tools and just kind of work the patch around in these small areas here. Wipe everything down. And you're just going to keep doing this until it's nice and clean, and pretty much up to you how clean you want it. Like I said, I usually do it until I get no more dirt and crap on my patches. So yeah, so I'll just keep doing this until get really no more dirt. Alright, so now it's actually time. I got everything wiped down to about as clean as I can get it, and now I'm going to move back to the barrel. That CLP's been breaking down everything in there, so now what I do next is I actually take a bore snake and I run that through. And what I'll do is I'll actually take a little bit of CLP and kind of put it on the front here. So I don't usually do a whole lot. Okay. And then we're just going to run it through. I'm going to take this brass end here, start it at the top, drop it down. It's going to come out the end, just like so, and you're just literally going to pull it through. It's going to be a little difficult, but I need to use a little bit of force to pull it through. But I'm actually going to run it through again. So, in case you didn't see that in that video, in that section, just drop top in there. It's going to go all the way down. And I know this is probably overkill. And then I'll actually take my cleaning rod again and then just do one dry patch through there just to double check. Make sure we've got everything. Just because I don't shoot this quite that often, so I want to make sure get it nice and clean. Pretty clean. Might run one more through there. Okay. Then what I do is, you don't have to do this, but this is kind of what I like to do, is especially on guns that I don't shoot very often, is I will take a clean patch and then put a little bit of lubricant on there. You don't need a whole lot. What I do is I actually put it on my fingers and then dab it on this. Sorry, I didn't come. Put on my fingers and just dab it on here. And then run it through the barrel. What that's going to do is just kind of help protect it as I, have it sitting not being used. It's going to help kind of keep it from rust and everything. Okay. Now that that's done, next step is lubrication. Alright, actually now it's time to start putting this thing back together now that we got the bore cleaned and all these parts wiped down. So we'll start putting it back together. We'll basically start the end here. We just reverse everything we just did. So first thing we want to do is hopefully you don't lose any of your small pieces. But take your bolt and the extractor here, and we're going to reinstall that. That just drops in there like it was. You might have to push that spring down. Make sure the holes line up, and then you will drop your pin in there. Okay, like so. So make sure everything is nice and flush as well. Once that is done, it is time to take this and put it back in here. So before I do that, I'm actually going to put a light coat of lubricant around the bolt. There's numerous different ways that you can lubricate your rifle. I'm just using, a Hops 9 lubricating oil. Some people like to use grease, some people like to use motor oil. There's just endless options of what you can do, and each way works. It honestly just depends how much you're going to shoot your rifle and all this. I don't shoot it that often. When I do, I only, I don't go through 10 magazines or anything. So this works just fine for me. If you were to use grease, it kind of the same way. But you're going to put your bolt back here in the carrier, and I just like to spin it around, kind of let that lube work its way around. So as long as it's free flowing like that, you're good to go. If it's still kind of not wanting to turn, add a little bit more lubricant to that. Alright, so once we got our bolt in there and everything's moving around just fine, we're actually going to take this piece right here, and then once you get your bolt in there, you're actually going to want to make sure the extractor is pointing in the right direction. You'll kind of want it, see at the bottom here to the right, so that way when it's in there, right, the extractor is going to extract it out. So you want to make sure that is right. And then also, I mean, I've double checked, and you can't put this in there unless you have it in the right slot. So you'll see the opening in there. You'll just drop this down in there. Okay, like so. And again, the extractor, I won't point it up here, so that way it's going to go right. So, and then we are going to give that a nice little 90-degree turn, and then we'll be able to move it around like that. Everything's good. Next thing you want to do is take your firing pin, drop that bad boy back in there, and then you're going to take your pin here and then put that back in there. Alright, so once you get your pin in there, you want to make sure it's nice and flush again. Just kind of, you want to flick it, make sure everything's working properly, and so as long as you pull it back, you're able to flip that out, you're good. Alright, so now as far as lubrication goes, really what I do is still just use that Hops 9. You'll see on the carrier here that there's going to be areas of wear, and that's really where you want to put most of your lubrication at. You'll see kind of along here and down here as well. So, but basically what I do is I just kind of coat my fingers with this oil and then just kind of rub it all over. You don't want too much, but again, you don't want too little. These guns, I know you want to run a little wet anyway. So, what I do is I just make sure I get all those areas that have some wear kind of real good, like so. Okay, once that's done, next you're going to take your charging handle, and then I'll just use this little precision thing here, and then you'll see that there's two kind of flattened areas along here, right there, and on the other side. You're just going to put like a nice little bead on that all the way down. That way when it slides in there, that'll spread it throughout the upper receiver. Alright, so you're going to take your upper receiver here, and then you're going to drop in your charging handle, and you'll notice inside there's little notches it's going to fall into. Camera probably won't pick that up, but there's these notches flared out right here. There's actually notched out where it's going to drop into, and then you'll be able to slide it back and forth. So once you get that in there, if I can get some light. Yeah, there we go. So once it drops in there, moves. You're going to take your bolt carrier group, and you're going to want to make sure that bolt is out. So if you had it in there, give it a good flick and get it out. And then you're just going to take it like so. Drop it in there. Okay, and then you're going to give it a little push, lock in place. So, alright. And then as far as, really don't need to lubricate the lower any. If you'd like to, you put a little bit on the hammer, just a tad, and then I'll put just a drop on these springs down in there. Okay, and then we'll just attach our lower to our upper. You'll just want to align these holes like so with the pins, just like that, and then you'll put them through. And then you could always leave this one in here and clean your gun that way, especially if you have a bench. I just find it easier to completely take it apart. Works well for me. So once you get it in there, you're going to want to cycle it a couple times just to kind of move that lubrication around and make sure everything is working well. And then you're going to take it off off of fire and do a test fire. Everything's working good. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Once you get the hang of it, you'll get a little bit faster at it and everything. So, and then what I'll do is I'll just take another dry paper towel and kind of wipe everything down before I put it away. So, pretty easy. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything, or any suggestions to process that might be easier, just let me know down in the comments. And thanks for watching.